Hey, how's it going? So this weekend, me and my friends tested a little bit of the new format, and in this video we have the Dark deck versus Charizard with the Duskull. So the idea of the Dark deck is our main attacker is the Okidogi EX. The main attack we're trying to use does 130 plus 130 more if we're poisoned. And then we have the Pecharunt EX that switches a Dark Pokemon into the active except for Pecharunt, and if you do, they are poisoned. It also has an attack for 2 Dark that does 60 times the number of prizes your opponent has taken. So we combine that with the Binding Mochi tool that makes it so that our poison Pokemon do 40 more damage. Yeah, we build up the attackers with a combination of Dark Patch and Janine. Janine lets us attach a Dark Energy from our deck to 2 of our Dark Pokemon. And the other new card we have in this deck is the Fezandipiti EX that has a really good ability that says if one of our guys were knocked out last turn, we can draw 3, as well as an attack for 3 colorless that snipes 100 damage to the bench or the active. And we also have the new stretcher that says put a Pokemon or basic energy from your discard pile into your hand. So that is pretty nice as well. I went for kind of a turbo build of this deck with Squawkabilly and Dark Patch and PokéStop, as well as some Trekking Shoes, as well as and double Morpeko to try and throw a 1 prizer in there and also increase the odds that we can get our Morpeko into the active turn 1. The Charizard list is basically a Charizard deck with a 1/1 Duskull Dusclops line in it. The Dusclops says that during your turn you can knock it out and put 5 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. There is also a Dusknoir that has a similar ability that you can knock it out once during your turn and put 13 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. But we decided to not play the Dusknoir for now. That's what we decided to test first. That seems like you're keeping the deck as consistent as possible and also gaining the benefits of being able to pick when you start doing more damage, as well as unlocking Counter Catcher, Defiance Band, and placing the 5 damage counters onto one of your opponent's Pokemon. So yeah, let's get into the game. Alright, so this first game I won the coin flip and chose to go second. Definitely want to go second with a deck like this against Charizard for sure, because Charizard wants to go second. So many decks right now want to go second, it seems like, so it's pretty good with a deck like this to choose second blind, but he does not get off to the best start, which is what I was hoping, because Charizard is generally pretty favored into matchups like this that are just kind of 2 prize beat sticks. Also, we agreed to just look at our prize cards when we got to use our first search, so we didn't have to spend the time checking prizes, so just checking my prizes there. And deciding what to get, I kind of have an awkward hand if I remember here, where I have like Greninja and Squawkabilly in hand, but I started the Cobalion, so if I bench all those, I'll never be able to get down a second attacker, because I don't want to attack with any of my big hitters right now. It'll make it too easy for him to one-shot. I would really like to use a Mimikyu first. And I just Pokégear for the Janines, and there was 2 Darks in there, so I just kind of shortcut it and attached the Darks like while playing the Janine all at once. And now I can just attach from hand and take a knockout with this Morpeko. I do end up Squawkabillying, I guess, here. I kind of forgot about that, but I do not bench the Greninja. Unfortunately, I have to get rid of a Dark Patch. I'm really debating here benching the Greninja or not. It's kind of a weird decision. I need to leave the spot for an extra attacker, is what I was like figuring out through the games that I was playing. And I Trekking Shoes here into the Fezandipiti, but I think I do need to find a Dark Energy, so I have to get rid of it. Or no, maybe I have a Vessel in hand. Yeah, I do have a Vessel in hand, but I was looking for a Dark or something like, or another Okidogi to move the energy from the Morpeko to, so that I'm not all in on one attacker, because he can hit it for only 240, but then I'm going to knock myself out with poison if I attack him. I get rid of a Binding Mochi here. I have 2 in my hand. It's just the best card to get rid of in this situation. Oh, I do have an Ultra Ball as well. I am completely mixing up games in my head. So I am going to get another Okidogi here. I would have preferred to not Ultra Ball though. I kind of liked keeping those cards in my hand and not having to get rid of a bunch of them, but now I also have access to Dark Patch as well with Ultra Balling away that Dark. So I switch with the Pecharunt, which poisons, so now my Morpeko is poisoned. And he's just going to counter catcher the Pecharunt and Iono me. That seems to be a good tactic against this deck. When you don't like, if you discard a Pecharunt or anything like that, you can knock it out, and it's a pretty easy Pokemon to knock out, and it also makes it so that there is a chance that I can't attack for full damage here. And it looks like he did not draw. Yeah, he didn't get the charizard, so I just show that I top deck the Stretcher and I can switch and knock out the Charmander. And he also flips over his prizes there. He prized 4 fire energy, which is kind of crazy. And on to the next game. Alright, so game 2. The Charizard player chose to go second. He almost drew right away. It looks like I got a mulligan maybe? Yeah, I think I took a mulligan or two because my hand was a little bit awkward. Normally in testing we don't take mulligans unless you don't have the best hand, and then we'll take them. I go with the Trekking Shoes here. I was debating whether or not to PokéStop first. I have an Ultra Ball in my hand and I was thinking about Squawkabillying. And I shoes into a boss and discard the boss because that doesn't help me right now, and end up into Prime Catcher, which really sucks. Now I definitely don't want to use Squawkabilly. Yeah, I'm probably just going to end up Ultra Balling here and attaching, maybe using a Dark Patch and passing and trying to hit something off of the Pokégear next turn. I have to Ultra Ball away Dark and PokéStop. This is like a super awkward hand, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. Oh, I do grab a Morpeko, of course, that makes sense. So that I can just attack with that next turn and move the energy to the Roaring Moon EX that is in my hand. Take a look at my prize cards. I probably should have shown them to the camera. That would have made a little more sense. But yeah, now I can start the game, and this forces him on the first turn that he can attack to have Charizard and a counter catcher to knock out one of my guys, instead of just being able to Charizard and take a knockout. Looks like he does have a better hand here, starting off with the Arven. Probably grab a PAF in for like Pidgey, Charmander, or something like that. Yeah, PAF and Forest. I can't exactly remember, but I think he prized Rotom a lot of these games. And maybe Radiant Zard too, which Radiant Zard is going to be a key piece here for Charizard to beat decks like this, is to stream a couple Radiant Zard attacks at the end of the game. Alright, so he also Nest Balls for Bidoof, attaches to the Charmander and passes. And I just Pokégear here. I think I hit Janine's and Research, and I'm not sure which one. Yep, I grabbed the Research. I can, I think, Dark Patch to the Morpeko, or just attach to it Prime Catcher the Pidgey and Research the rest of my hand away. Definitely, because getting rid of Pidgey makes it so he can't have Pidgey on next turn. And if I knock out Charmander, he just has another Charmander, so doesn't really do much. Yeah, so I am going to Dark Patch to the Morpeko, Prime Catcher, and Research. It also means I don't have to poison my my Morpeko, which is nice. So it makes it so he can't just knock it out with like Charmander Defiance Band or something like that. Or actually, this Charmander does 40, so it would knock it out. I was debating benching a second Pecharunt there. I don't know. I haven't played the deck enough to know if that's correct, but I maybe should have benched it. here. I wish I could see my hand because I'm thinking about doing something. I might have an Ultra Ball, or I'm trying to decide where to attach. If I want to attach an energy to the Morpeko to make it so I can just attach again and attack, or if I attach to the moon, then I have all three of my energy in play on one Pokemon, which is never ideal. So I do end up just using my manual attachment on the Pecharunt. And he does counter catcher it up and puts down the Manaphy, because there was, I think, a game at some point where my best play for the turn was sniping with the Fezandipiti. So Manaphy definitely isn't bad against this deck. With the Dark Patches and the Janine, you can do like boss stall kind of plays, boss up a barrel and snipe, you know, Pidgey or something. Gets you back on even prizes and is kind of disruptive against the deck you're playing against. So he Ultra Balled for Charizard. It looked like, or no, he ended up Ultra Balling for Pidgey. And then used Barrel to try and draw into a rare candy. I don't think he hit it because he Ultra Balled for another Charmander, which is kind of unfortunate. It just shows how like hard it is sometimes for Charizard to get going if you don't have the Arbin Forest Seal Stone combo to get a Pidgeot out to really get your board rolling. So yeah, now my Pecharunt's in the active, which is fine. It's not really a big deal since it does have the switching ability. And now I am able to also Ultra Ball for my Monkey Dory, so I can start getting a backup attacker set up. And what I'm going to want to do now that I can go on even prizes, hopefully with the Morpeko. Yeah, it looks like I can. And I'm debating here retreating or using the ability to switch, because I think I have the stretcher in my hand. At the very least, I have a Dark Patch, so I don't know if I want to use the ability to switch in, or if I want to retreat the energy off so that I can have access to the energy. And I do end up retreating it off. Makes sense here, yeah. Now I can just stretcher, attach, research. It's a pretty solid hand. Sorry if the camera's wiggling a little bit. Hopefully that will stop soon. And I just Nest Ball out a Fezandipiti to kind of play around Unfair Stamp. And now I'm in a pretty good spot here to just take 2 one-shots. I still have quite a couple Janines left at least. So, and 2 Dark Patch, I think. So I have a fair amount of energy acceleration. I'm just kind of counting resources here for a Pal Pad. I put back Research Boss. I'm worried about that Unfair Stamp. And now I have a pretty solid board state here with that Morpeko attack. Just move the energy to my Okidogi. So now I'm threatening 2 different Pokemon that have a chance to one-shot. I would definitely like to use the Okidogi first, because if he gets out a Duskull here, then, and I attack with Roaring Moon, then he could, oh, he Unfair Stamps me, that's unfortunate. But if I attack with Roaring Moon and he's able to get out a Duskull, he can knock out my Moon with the Dusclops and take 4 prizes and both my attackers off the board in one turn. So I'm definitely going to want to attack with Okidogi next turn. He really needs to find Rare Candyzard this turn. And he does find that Duskull I was talking about. Looks like he got it finally. He's been drawing kind of unfortunately, but I think this might show how... Oh no, he's going to have to barrel into Rare Candy. Yeah, he does draw the candy. But like I was going to say, I think this might show how this is not a very good matchup, because he's been drawing pretty unfortunately, and I think is still in a fine spot to win this game, as long as he also has a counter catcher this turn, which, oh, he doesn't. That is unfortunate. That's not what you want to see for sure. But he can turn the prize trade around, because I'm on even prizes now at the end of the game with a Radiant Charizard. I send up my, oh my god, my friends keep bumping into the table, sorry about that. Oh yeah, a couple of our buddies are taking off. Yeah, I promote the Roaring Moon here because if worse comes to worse, I'll attack with that. I don't want to have to poison it. That doesn't seem good. And if I attack with the Okidogi, I am going to want to use the ability to poison it anyway. I was really just struggling there with where to attach. And at the end of the day, I should have attached to the Okidogi because I need to attack with that. But I think I am able to research into the cards I need. Also, I am not used to playing with the Fezandipiti yet, and we're all kind of, you know, hanging out. There's like 4 or 5 people here at the time of this recording, and I keep forgetting to use Fezandipiti. I might just totally forget to use it entirely this turn. I do have Trekking Shoes. I'm hoping to get into a Dark Energy, which I do. I should have put that Dark in my hand and use Greninja. I realized that after the fact, but I am able to discard it with the shoes either way. And Dark Patch, yeah, I think that I'm kind of saying here now I should have put the energy into my hand, use Greninja. I forgot to use Fezandipiti. I do end up using it, I think, after the fact. I just draw with it to have the cards in my hand because hopefully in a real game I would remember to draw with it, and then those cards would go to the bottom if my opponent Ionos me here. So I do use it, yeah. Which, I don't know, that would have affected the game a little bit because I drew into boss, and if he Ionos me, yeah, that boss should go to the bottom of the deck, and I would have drawn it off Iono, which would just be game. And he's doing all the things here. And I think he just used Pidgeot for Iono and slammed the jamming tower, but now he's second guessing it because he might want to use Forest. Because I think he wants to counter catcher this turn. Really what he needs to do is get, yeah, he didn't get the knockout, but what we're talking about here is he needed to get Duskull or Dusclops, the middle evolution, and put 50 damage onto my Roaring Moon, and then knock out my Monkey Door EX, and then I would have to find new attacker, Janine's Dark Patch, all that stuff, and it'd be pretty unlikely based on what was in my discard pile. But he missed the combo and prized his Radiant Charizard. He actually prized 6 Pokemon that game. But yeah, so that is the Charizard series. End up winning that 2-0. There was another game that we played, but I took a knockout. He counter catchered my Pecharunt EX and knocked it out, and I prized my Super Ed, and I wasn't able to take it off my next knockout, so I just ended up losing that one, but ended up winning the next 2.